Welcome to Paging the Pod with James Wong.
And Aaron Samoff. And today we're here joined by Dr. Howie James, who is a family doctor here in British Columbia. So our first question for you is, what inspired you to pursue medicine?
Really, it was the fact that I look good in green.
And can you walk us through your medical journey in terms of like your undergrad
Yeah,
medical school?
I actually wanted to be an academic, so I started off in math and physics, and I got a master's in physics, and I started a DPhil or a PhD, and then that's when I decided to go into medicine. So I'm not your typical story or your typical med student at the time.
Was there like kind of like a spark that got you to like pivot and kind of decide on medicine?
Yeah, I think it was the fact that I wasn't going to be a good theoretical physicist. So yeah, in all honesty, it was not my first choice.
What do you wish you knew before starting medical school?
I wish I knew that I do not look good in green.
And how did you decide on your specialty as a family doctor?
That's what I always wanted to do from the beginning. So I started medicine at an older age than most students, and I was happy just to be a family doctor. I looked up to my family doctor when I was a child, and I never really fell in love with any of the specialties. And it was always going to be family medicine for me.
Could you give a summary of your work as a family doctor? Like, what's your typical day like?
Well, as a family doctor, you never know what your day is going to be like. You could have anything from a newborn to a patient well over 100 years old. You could see the most minor cases. You could see the most acute cases. Um, you can see a lot of psychiatric, emotional problems. One person said that as a family doctor, well, all the world's a stage, and as a family doctor, you've got a seat in the front row. And I think that's quite true. It's a fascinating job in that you can see everything. You get to know people quite well. You see people for extremely long periods of time. And in that sense, it can be very, very rewarding.
But how do you see some like these upcoming technologies like AI practically affecting family medicine in the future?
I think it's going to be a big influence. AI is going to be a big influence. I think I personally have already started to use AI in my practice. If I have a complicated case, I'll do my own formulation, and then I'll see what AI has to say. So I'll check to see if I've missed anything else that I should have considered. So AI is becoming already quite valuable. People are using AI scribes right now to record meetings. So the doctor will not have to take pen to paper or to do any typing. The AI will do the entire thing for you. I haven't jumped onto that bandwagon yet because I think they're still making too many mistakes. But as far as checking my work, AI has become useful. I think the role is only going to expand in the future.
So like knowing about AI, like what big changes do you see happening in your field in the next
I
10
could
years?
see people discussing their condition with an AI model before they see the doctor. In other words, the AI can do a lot of the initial history, suggest lab tests. The patient can go do the lab tests and then wind up seeing the family doctor or the doctor. So I think AI is going to become very big, and it's also going to affect the staffing, in particular the medical office assistants. A lot of their work will also be able to be done by AI.
What kind of misconceptions do you find in your field that some like early med students might have?
That's a tough question. Um, I think a lot of med students don't really realize what they're in for when they start medicine. I think it's a really good idea to do some shadowing before you go into med school. Um, I don't think the med students will be expecting the vast amount of paperwork and bureaucracy that troubles doctors right now. Yeah, I think it's a good idea to do some shadowing.
For our new medicine students, like what are some like things to they should look out for in the future? Kind of like give them an idea. of how they want to go down in the future?
Well, there are some cynical things. It depends on where they want to work, how hard they want to work, um, what their expectations are when they finish work. It's quite difficult to comment on that.
What drove you to like go through and finish all your years of medicine and like power you through those years?
Um, well, once I started, I was going to finish. Yeah, there's no turning back once you start.
How's your process of going to like residency or like post med school?
Well, I was fortunate that when I did my program, you could do 4 years of medical school and then do a 1 year rotating internship and then leave. That's no longer the case. Now you have to do a 2 year family practice residency. I think that changed the year I graduated. Probably my fault.
So finally, like what one big piece of advice would you give to a high school or undergrad student that's really like considering medicine?
Do some shadowing before you apply. Follow a family doctor or a specialist around and get a good idea of what the job is before you apply. There's so many different variations in medicine, but you still should have an idea of what you're getting into.
Like how do you think like students will be able to like kind of narrow down what they think they want to do?
Well, once you're in medical school, you can find out what subject interests you the most, what lifestyle you want to lead, and make your decision there. It can take quite a long time.
So that'll be episode 1 of Paging the Pod. Thank you, Dr. Howie James,
You're
for
welcome.
joining us.
Yeah, thank you guys for listening.